Hello and welcome to Better Business Podcast. My name is Alexei, and today I've got Ben Jones with me from Titan Marketer. How are you going, Ben?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me, Alexei. It's my privilege to be here. Hopefully, I can help generate some value in people's lives today, and really appreciate their time and listening.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great to have you on our podcast. Ben, you and I have met a couple of years ago now, and it's interesting how time flies, but it's been through, I believe, Andrew Carter from How to Write a Bestseller. What really struck me is you had a pretty interesting solution using YouTube ads to drive leads for seminars. Was that about right?
Yeah, so we work with Andrew, actually a bunch of different speakers and coaches, consultants. But yeah, for him it was cool. I'd worked with Darren as well just before that,
Darren
and
Stevens, yep.
help them fill their events too. And I think that's how I ended up working with Andrew and then meeting you. But yeah, really cool. Like just helping people fill their events. Obviously, he was selling high ticket off the back, which is great, and really cool product. Like, I got a lot of time for Andrew's product, and yeah, become really good friends with him over the years as well. So yeah, really cool. That was a great place to meet people like yourself as well, because he had a big marketing campaign going, and yeah, I think you handled the Google side and the search side, and we
Absolutely.
handled the YouTube side. So
Yeah, yeah, and both Andrew and Darren have been on our podcast. So for those listening, you may want to check out those episodes, probably dating back last year. So why YouTube, Ben? Why are you focusing so much on YouTube? I mean, surely there's many different avenues out there. So
yeah, look, I think when it comes to paid advertising, we just want marketing that works, right? Like if we're going to spend $1, where is the most profitable place for us to spend it? And I think at the moment, the smart money is moving to YouTube ads. Well, that's what we found anyway. So, and look, we manage accounts where we run Facebook search and YouTube, and every single time they'll start off and 80% of the budget ends up in YouTube. And the reason for that is that the cost per clicks are less, but the traffic quality is higher. So you basically get more for less. And I think it's like all of these ad platforms have what I would call an adoption curve, right? Like 10 years ago, it was Facebook, 20 years ago, it was Google search. And, in the 90s, maybe it was email. But what's happened over time is open rates have got less. Google search is super expensive. Facebook's oversaturated. It's not what it was 10 years ago. And YouTube's the same size as Facebook. However, it's just got heaps more ad placements, and it's got the targeting that Facebook had, or actually better targeting than Facebook had a decade ago. Facebook's taking away targeting. YouTube has heaps, and it's a video ad. So, I mean, they're just a few reasons why. It is a little bit different. Like it's different to the other ad platforms, and I think having a video ad is a big, massive barrier to entry. But yeah, I think that's why basically it's the most profitable ads on the internet at the moment. So
wow, look, I definitely agree, and I think partially YouTube is one of those platforms that sort of seems easy, but a little bit difficult for most businesses to get into. I mean, content. I mean, what's your take on that?
yeah, I think that's where everyone gets a bit stuck, is like, I want to do YouTube ads. And then probably the big problem that a lot of people do is they treat it like Facebook. They'll get, hey, look, I've got these ads on Facebook. This is my targeting that I try, and they try it on YouTube. It doesn't work. They throw their hands up in the air and they walk away. And we see that so often. And I think it's because they need to understand, like, YouTube is a completely different platform. It has a different ad format. It has a different targeting way of targeting. It has basically a different way of doing absolutely. Even the bid structure is different. Like everything in there is different. So when you come to YouTube ads, I think the big thing that you want to do is probably two things. One, get your targeting on point, like really target the person you want to talk to. And two, make sure you have an ad that delivers value. And I think if you can do those two things, that help people before they click, and target the right person with the right message, that's where YouTube ads comes alive.
Okay. Bit of a basic question, but value. What are you talking about when you mention value for a business in terms of advertising? Because I talk to a lot of business coaches, I talk to a lot of consultants. The term value gets used so much, but oftentimes, simple business owners really struggle to define what value they're bringing out to the masses.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And a lot of people don't, particularly in the coaches consultant space, they don't want to give away a lot of their secrets on the front end, right? We kind of turn that on their head a little bit. And even if you're a service-based business or an e-com or whatever, like teach them something that they didn't already know. So for example, like some of our best ads are, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could steal your competitors' ads with YouTube? People are like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And then we run an ad on that. We're like, here's how you do it step by step. Would you like a free training on how that works, or booking a call, or whatever it might be, right? But if you can actually help people, we do another one where it's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could target people with their credit card out, teach them something they didn't know in the ad, or deliver value in a certain way? So, with Andrew, if we go back to Andrew, his is about authority marketing and selling a book. Did you know that a book could do these things for you? Okay, like be okay to help people in what it is that you're doing with your marketing, and you'll be really surprised. Like the other thing you got to think about is why are people on YouTube? They're not there scrolling past what people ate for breakfast and cats, right? Like they're literally on there to either be entertained or educated in some way. Now, if you're funny, that's great, but in my experience, most people aren't. So the other way to do that is deliver value, right? Like actually help people. And I don't know if it was Frank Kern or one of those that said, look, the best way to help people is actually help them. So I think if you come at it with that approach in your marketing and you actually help people, you'll be really surprised at what happens on the back end, instead of just stepping out of a Lambo and telling everyone you're awesome. So
yeah, well, that's a really good way to put it. I mean, I've got a little bit of a framework that I work around, and I find that a lot of the time when a business puts an offer out there, oftentimes a lot of the things that they promise in the ad isn't something that people will receive in time, or basically they're promising something that people potentially need to process first to start trusting them. So, for example, someone's going to say, we're going to deliver this on time, but how will they know until they engage these people? So if you basically look at the whole timing of an offer, I often find that, plugging that value by putting in something like, okay, no hidden fees. You promise something first up that basically will secure the trust of that person later on. In my opinion, it's a much better way to go in an offer. Or if you basically go with something like on-site quote as opposed to, just a quote. I find that, these things add value. And if we sort of take what you just said and put things in there that basically outline that on-site quote saying, hey, we'll do X, Y, Z, that basically no one else really covers. That way their offer becomes a lot more valuable and really, really stands out. Yeah.
No, for sure. Value is the key, right? Like at the end of the day, money is just an exchange of value. So the more value that you give someone, the more they'll want to exchange money with you, which is an exchange of value, right?
Absolutely. So how long you been in this game, mate? I mean, obviously, YouTube marketing has been around for a while. You obviously got into it a few years ago. Social media, you've mentioned. So how long have you been running Titan for?
When was Titan? Titan probably started officially a year before COVID, a yearish before COVID. And it was basically a result. I mean, at the time, I was running a business called Coaching for Experts. We were teaching coaches how to sell from stage. And I was actually helping them run their Facebook marketing. We were running a lot of Google and YouTube marketing. And I ended up speaking about marketing on a few people's friends' stages and things like that. They'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Can you come share that? And we just had a lot of demand. Like people were like, hey, can you show us how to do that? And I was like, I'm doing all these other things. I don't really want to do that right now. And then I had a friend of mine who was running some of my marketing, and we basically decided to join forces and originally start Titan together. And the cool thing with that was that sort of started just prior to COVID, and then COVID kicked off, and everyone really needed marketing, and we kind of just grew from there. What was really interesting is we actually started as a Google Ads. Like we'll teach you all of Google Ads, like search through YouTube. What we found though was like 80% of everyone's budget and results was coming from YouTube ads, right? So in that case, we were like, well, let's focus, just double down on that. And that's kind of been our journey with it. We've generated millions of dollars in sales with YouTube across a very wide range of industries. From coaching to probably a lot of lead gen, e-commerce, just to be honest, unless your lifetime value is over $100 is a little tricky on YouTube, but any sort of lead gen service-based business like YouTube is prime for. So that's kind of like how it started. I think the big thing, why did I go to Google Ads, was I was actually running my own event to the UK at the time, and in Perth, and what we found was like Facebook turned all our ad accounts off. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but if you're running Facebook ads, it's really a matter of when, not if.
Right? That's right.
And yeah, so basically lost all my Facebook ads, and we had to figure out Google. Like we had a very compressed time frame, like 6 weeks, and we had just throw down like 40 grand worth of marketing on Google Ads, and we hired an agency and we did it, and we beat the agency. So I was like, well, there's something to this, and that's going back probably about 7 years ago or whatever it was, and since then it's been a gradual process. Did I ever think I'd get to today where I'd specialize in YouTube ads? No, I didn't, but here we are. So
Great, great. So how has the market changed over the last 5 years? Obviously, 2019, very different to 2020, and then all the post-COVID stuff, and even 2024, I must say, has been quite different as well. So how are you finding the market changes?
Yeah, I think, look, these platforms change all the time, right? So YouTube ads today isn't what it was, say, 5 years ago, where it was all CPV campaigns. It's just a completely different place, right? So and they continue to change. I mean, this year, like 2024, beginning of, we've got demand gen ads, which are really exciting. I think it's going to open a massive platform for people to run image-based ads on YouTube. And in the YouTube feed, right, which is something we didn't have 6-12 months ago. We had beta access to it. We spent a bit of money on it, and it's looking really, really cool, right? Like that's something that didn't exist 6-12 months ago, but exists today, right? So I think you got to sort of be on top of those things, and sort of know what's going on in your particular platform, whether you're currently doing Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or Google ads or YouTube ads or whatever. Sometimes it's good to be a specialist in one than be a master of none, right? So I think that's probably key. And if you're going to learn one, you might as well learn one that's got the best return on ad spend, right? So so I guess the big difference, like in what's changed over the past 5 years, I think some of the AI based campaigns are going to be up and coming that are pretty big. If you have a look at what Facebook's doing, they're literally taking all targeting options away from people, and they just want you to run the AI based campaigns. Google's doing it as well. But I think at this point in time, we still have the option to have really dialed in targeting on YouTube. And look, that's going to change, right? Like I'm under no illusions that in 5 or 10 years, YouTube is probably not going to be the platform. It's probably going to be something like TikTok that's finally figured out how to do targeting, or, one of the other platforms that's going to be up and coming. And maybe it's something we don't even know the name of just yet. But I think that the key thing is to, if you're not sure, have a look at someone who's running multiple platforms and spending 50 to 100 grand a month on ads, and ask them where their best return on ad spend is.
That's a good way to put
ask
it.
multiple people that question. And I think you'll find the answer is going to be YouTube at the moment.
So where are most businesses failing when it comes to YouTube ads, or I don't know, any advertising in your opinion? Because no doubt majority of the time you'd be having people coming to you and saying, hey, we tried something ourselves, or we had an agency, and now we basically want to talk to you. So what's your take on that? Where are they failing?
Yeah, I think there's probably two main things there. One is the agency side of like someone else managing it, and the other one is like when they're managing it themselves with either in-house marketing team or themselves marketing it, right? I think when people, I think I said it before, when people first come to YouTube, like they don't treat it right. Like they basically take what's already working somewhere else and try and replicate it in YouTube. And you can have mixed success with that, right? But I think if you have like a value-based ad, like we talked about before, we have like a 4-part sequence to that, like hook, elevator pitch, story, close. Like if you can follow that framework in your ad, that's going to set you apart. And having lots of creative, like a lot of people think they're going to create 2 videos and conquer YouTube, right? It's just not the case. So you want to have at least sort of 10 videos ready to go, right? And that's where people go, oh, it's all too hard. But it's really not, right? Like if you can have a really good script and a few different hooks, the hooks are the first 5 seconds of the ad, you can create 10 ads off one script really, really easily, right? So have like one, like really cool couple of ads, value-based ads that actually help people. That would be my first thing. The second thing is like, get your targeting on point, right? Like with YouTube, you can literally target people by income and intent. So use all your general income user targeting, but target people based on how much money they have. So you can literally target people that have enough money who are ready to buy. So if you could have someone who had enough money before they click, would you get better traffic? Well, yeah, you would. And same thing with intent. You can target people who are searching on Google search and then show them a YouTube ad. You can get people who are actually in market if you're familiar with Google ads. You can show people who are visiting your competitors' websites, all those things. Combine those 2 things together, and I'll be very, very surprised if you don't do well with YouTube ads. I mean, that's one mistake. Like a lot of people who are just getting started don't understand it. I think the other side of that is the agency side, which you mentioned just before. And I think this is where you might find someone who's really good at search ads and maybe shopping ads or something like that, right? And then they're like, hey, we can help you with YouTube. But they don't quite understand how the ad formats work or how to do the YouTube side of it. But they're a Google ads agency. And we see this a lot where we actually have Google agencies approach us all the time. And they're like, hey, we're really good at the Google side, but we suck at the YouTube side. Can you just come in and help us do it? or take our clients or whatever, right? And I think a lot of business owners don't understand that just because they're a Google Ads agency doesn't mean that they're good at YouTube ads, right? In the same way that, you know, if someone asked me to run their shopping campaigns, I'm not a ninja at shopping campaigns, right? So I would find an e-commerce person who just specialized in that part of it. And the Google Ads platform is so massive. There's just so many different things in there, right? And so, yeah, I mean, that we see a lot of that. So there's two sides of it there. Like if you're outsourcing it to someone, make sure they've actually got results in YouTube ads before you give them a YouTube ads accounts. So
yeah, that's a good tip. Yeah, I do come across that a lot. And in fact, you know, in terms of partnering with businesses, this is one approach that we use as well. We work with a lot of social media ads and web designers. We don't do design ourselves, we just do development. And this way, you're able to actually partner with a lot of people that send you clients. And for those who are thinking, hey, how can I form an alliance? Well, whichever industry you're in, there's always somebody who has your customer before you. I've actually had a podcast episode on this a few episodes ago. But mate, when it comes to your format, I quite like the whole idea of, you know, the hook, elevator pitch, story, and a close. And obviously, you know, I've seen this, you know, in a few different formats. I mean, you hear this on the radio quite a fair bit. So this isn't a new format, but the way I guess you're presenting it, it makes things a little bit more personalized, I guess, for those businesses that are looking specifically for lead gen. Do you want maybe just want to run our listeners through the format and I guess maybe give an example?
yeah, sure. So look, this is easy for your long form video ads. I think there's, and in the last 12 months, there's a big change that's happening on YouTube ads, right? Is the short form under a minute ads, okay? Now they have to be a bit more fast paced, right? You can be a bit more Facebooky with those ones, but again, have one principle that they can learn. Now, moving on to the longer form ads, which is kind of the bread and butter of YouTube ads at the moment. With those, you want a 4-part ad structure. The first one is going to be your hook. And if you're watching, the ads I'm talking about are pre-roll ads. So if you're watching YouTube and you've probably been watching your content and this ad pops up and you're waiting for 5 seconds to skip, that's the ad you want to run, right? So the cool thing is if someone does press skip, you don't get charged for that ad, right? So if you're running an ad, someone skips, it doesn't get charged. So that's really cool. And the other thing to know about these ads is they're usually free for the first 30 seconds. Okay, so you've got 30 seconds to get your message across, which is really cool. Now, that being said, how does that fit into the ad structure? Well, the first part is the hook. Now, the hook lasts for the 5 seconds, right, where they're going to skip. So having a hook that grabs them, and in marketing, the hook in most advertising is the thing that gets said first. Like, how are you going to hook someone? I think we have like 10 different types of hooks that you can use, but probably my favorite one, if you're going to start with one, is a rhetorical question where people have to say yes in their head. Okay. For example, are you sick of burning money on Facebook ads? Okay, would be a good hook. Okay, or you know, wouldn't you like to have this? You know, big benefit, problem, rhetorical based yes, works really well. Okay, very, very simple, but it just works. The next part of it, so that's our hook. The next part of it is our elevator pitch. Now, this is where you probably want to spend somewhere between 10 and, I don't know, 10 and before 30 seconds. Just sort of introducing yourself, why people should listen to you, and lead them into the story part, which is the next part. So for example, I might say something like, the hook might be, hey, are you sick of burning money on Facebook ads? The second part might be, YouTube, I might say, hey, look, my name's Ben. I've generated millions of dollars in YouTube ads across a wide range of industries across 3 different continents. And I'm going to show you in the next 2 minutes, you know, how you can ethically steal your competitors' traffic, or how, you know, why YouTube ads are the most profitable on the internet, and how you can use them in your business. Something along those lines. That could be an elevator pitch. So now I've hooked them, I've established authority, and I've made a promise. Okay, I'm like, hey, look, this is what's going to happen next. Okay, so that's the elevator pitch. The story, the best way to do it, there's lots of ways of doing stories. You can do case studies, you can do all these different types of stories. We probably recommend, if you're just getting started, you want three benefits that they want, or 3 things they want to avoid. So it might be, hey, look, I'll show you the 3 biggest mistakes you can make with YouTube ads. Or it might be, hey, I'll show you the 3 reasons why YouTube ads are better than any other ad platform on the market. Okay. Now, if I went that route, I could be like, here are 3 things. 1, you can target people based on income. So you're only showing ads to people who can afford it. 2, you can target people when they're ready to buy. And 3, you can actually steal your competitors' traffic. And most people don't know those things. So they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. So if you'd like to learn more about that, come to our free insert your thing. That's the last part. That's the close. And make sure you sell the click. Don't just go, if you'd like more, click here, because that's crap. Okay, if you're going to do a close, it needs to be, so if you'd like to, thing you've promised, make sure you click the link below, right? So it would be like, if you'd like to know how to grow, scale your business with YouTube advertising, you'd like to implement these things, make sure you click on this. You'll get taken to a page that looks something like this. That'll be it. So they know where they're going. And we look forward to seeing you on the other side. Now, that would be a good close. On the back of that, what you want to have is an end screen. So it's like just a graphic. You stop talking with an arrow to the click button, because even now while I'm talking, you're 3 to 5 seconds behind what I'm saying. So if I've just said, hey, click this thing, and the video ends, you'll miss like 30% of the people who would have clicked, right? So having an end screen, people have an arrow to click on it, works really well. So that's kind of the format, the longer video ad format, if that makes sense, Alexei.
That's awesome. Love it, mate. And for those listeners who haven't taken notes, I do advise that you write this down and potentially, run your own scripts or something like that. Do not experiment with this. It's a proven script that works. I've seen many examples of this particular script being used, and every time it gets you. I mean, the whole idea is to make this engaging and really turn into trust building exercise, which then goes into a call to action. So everything that Ben says 100% is something that I would do. In fact, we are actually running a few ads right now in a very similar format, basically trialing that for a few businesses and getting fairly decent results. So question I got to ask you, and this is where I think a lot of businesses get stuck: professional studio quality versus amateur type format. I mean, what do you recommend?
Look, we've tried a whole bunch of different things, and some people, their brand is, it needs to be studio quality and blah blah blah. But okay, cool, you can do that if you want, right? However, we find probably 90% of the people who shoot YouTube ads, I recommend them actually just doing them off their phone. Okay, get yourself a good wireless mic, like some Rode Go's or some, what's the other ones we use? Got them there, DJI ones or whatever, right? They cost about $200 or $100 from JB Hi-Fi. They're not a big deal. Plug them into your phone, so you got good audio. And the phones today, let's be real, they're insane, right? I think the new Samsung can record at 8K. The new iPhone will do 4K. I mean, let's be serious here for a second. That's some serious recording, right? So if you're shooting a long form video, you want it like lengthwise. So I think that's 16:9. If you want to do a short video under a minute, you want to do it 9:16, so vertical, right? Just the way that it sits in the feeds. And shoot in some high quality depth. I've literally shot some ads off my webcam like exactly like this that have worked just as well as when I've done it at sunset, walking with someone walking behind me in front of a really cool estuary near where I live, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't so much matter about the quality. The things where you will stuff it up is you can't have bad audio. That's just unforgivable, right? No bad audio, right? And the other thing is you want to be as relaxed as possible. So if you need to read it off a script, get a teleprompter. Or if you need to read it off a script and you've got it on your computer, put it into a software like Descript. So it's just like another software. I'm not affiliated with them anyway. We find that our clients do this a lot, is they'll actually put their script on their computer, do it off a webcam like this, read the script, and then put it in Descript, and it's got this thing where it like matches your eyes, so it always looks at the camera. Okay, like cost you $20 to make that happen. So super easy way of shooting your ads. Just shoot them off your phone. Like I've literally, for one of my better ads, I literally just shot next to that painting there at 1 o'clock in the morning, where I just rabbited a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like it's not actually the quality of the ad. It's more what you say in the ad, and it can't be too long, but it can be too boring. So I think with your video ad, shoot it. I think probably the big thing is in the editing, the post edit, put some B-roll in it. So like, images and videos and text and stuff popping up. That's going to be way more important than where you shoot it. So the post edit, like getting a video edit to make it look cool, is going to be way more important than the studio shot, if you will. So
cool. Look, yeah. I think this is great advice for anyone who's wanting to get into YouTube ads, and overall, definitely a hot topic right now. And if you're obviously looking to get a good share of the market, 100% should be doing what Ben is suggesting. Another question I get asked a lot is, business owners sometimes are camera shy. They don't want to be, obviously doing it themselves. So they're trying to wing it. They're trying to use AI tools, and we'll talk about AI tools separately. Or they want to get like a spokesperson to do it on their behalf. I mean, what are pros and cons, and any tips for those shy business owners?
Yeah, I think, look, video is a thing, right? Like some people just don't want to be on video. So one, if you've got some staff member or something like that who can be in the video, that's cool too. I mean, we ran some marketing to the US. When was it? Probably about 6 months ago. And at the time, my ads weren't converting as well as they do here in Australia. Probably with my accent. They're probably listening to more my accent than actually what I was saying in the ad, right? And I was like, well, what can we do about this? So we hired some attractive women who were on Fiverr to literally read my script on a green screen and then just put B-roll, like images and photos, videos behind them, right? And guess what? Their ads did better than mine, right? So who would have thought that attractive women work better than, bearded Ben with an Australian accent? Like, no shock or surprise there. But the cool thing is, I think with that is you don't have to be the person, right? So you can literally go to Fiverr right now and people will stand and read your scripts and you can create ads based on that. And some of our bigger clients actually, one of our bigger clients in the US at the moment, a lot of their ads are literally that. It's really good script done by a different video people on Fiverr, and some of them convert better than others. And then we run their ads accordingly. So they don't even have to be in the ad themselves if you don't want to be. But the face to camera thing on YouTube does work because it's a platform where everything is face to camera, right? So people ask me, oh, can we run the animated ads? You can, but they won't work as well, right? So yeah, you do need to have, if you're going to do video ads, you do need to have face to camera. The other cool thing is at the moment is you can run image-based ads in the YouTube feed. So if you're running, this is really cool. We've seen this in the last, 6 months or so, is if you've got good Facebook image creative that's working well, or some sort of that sort of thing, is you can actually run it in the YouTube feed. So if you go on your mobile and people are scrolling, you'll see image-based ads. And the way you do that is with the new demand gen campaigns, which I talked about just before. And some of those are converting really well. And while they're not as cool as some of the video ads, what it does allow you to do is test audiences really, really quickly. And you can actually start running ads on YouTube profitably without actually having to do video. So a combination of those two things: outsource it, get someone else to be in the video if you don't want to be that person, or start running image-based ads on YouTube.
Cool. That's awesome. Any other tips you'd like to share with our listeners? I guess I've asked you a few questions that sort of pop up quite frequently, but is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think really, probably the big thing, if you haven't got a Google Ads account already, they'll literally give you $500 US just for getting started. So your first $1,000, you'll get 50% off, if that makes sense, to just get started with YouTube ads. You could knock a script together and shoot an ad in half a day if you really wanted to. But yeah, just get out there and play around with it, particularly if you're already running ads. Like if you're already running ads on Facebook, for example, and you're not getting the return that you wanted, YouTube ads is probably where you want to play. If you're running search ads at the moment and you're not running YouTube ads, man, you're like leaving heaps of money on the table because you've already got an account that's got conversion. And the other side of that is you can actually run the YouTube ads to your proven keywords. So I guess my tip would be, if you're running Google ads, you're not doing YouTube ads, go figure that out ASAP. If you're on Facebook ads, you're running ads at the moment and they're not performing the way that they should, you need to be moving over to YouTube ads, because those two platforms are only going to get more expensive. Like they're not getting any cheaper anytime soon. So that would be my advice. Look, we do have some free resources and things you can check out where we actually give away a lot of stuff to get people started. So you can check our stuff out there. But other than that, just get out there and get into it and make a start, right? So
yeah. So these resources, they're on your website, right? Titan Marketer.
Titan Marketer, yeah. So we actually have a training on like how to actually steal your competitors' traffic, how to build the campaign step by step. You can actually build your first campaign. We also give away ad scripts as well, like AI ad scripts, like how to actually write all those ad scripts with AI as well. So if you go to our website, we'll literally give you everything that you need to create ads and also show you how to run campaigns just to get you started. So just get out there, have a play. You'll love it. It'll be a whole bunch of fun.
Awesome. Now, TikTok, you've briefly mentioned that, and I guess it is one of those newer platforms. It's been around for a bit now. Maybe it's just something that reflects on my age, but what's your take on TikTok? Is that still that teenager-based social media that most people should probably avoid, or has this really changed? What's your take on it?
Yeah, look, I'm not a TikTok, Facebook, or content expert, so I'll just throw that out there. So there are people out there who that is their platform, right? They're specialists in those things. I would say I'm probably more a generalist. I have spent a bunch of my own money on it to see if I can get it to play around with it. And, like all the marketers do, right? Like it's a new platform, let's play with it. And I find like you can get leads. I probably didn't spend enough. Like I was talking to, just when I was away, one of my last big speaking gigs, there was a TikTok expert there, like ads expert, and we were sort of swapping notes and having a chat or whatever. And I learned more in that one brief exchange than I did trying to run it myself. So I think that's probably the key, is find someone who's really good at that to do it for you. And do they work? Yeah, look, everything works if it's the right person driving it. So I think it is more general. Like you can't get, the targeting is not there, is probably my take on it at the moment. Like it's a very general, broad campaign. The audience is actually getting older, so it's not just the teenagers anymore. The teenagers are grown up, and I think it's actually a lot of older people on TikTok, which was actually quite surprised me. Is it the next up and coming thing? It could be. There's a few issues around it at the moment, obviously in the US with TikTok and all the stuff going on there. So I think it's still it's not quite where it needs to be, if that makes sense. Like if you were to compare it with YouTube ads, it doesn't have intent targeting, it doesn't have income targeting, it's not the same size as Facebook. You know, the way that you're charged is per impression, not per view or per click. Like you can't really compare them. They're kind of like chalk and cheese, if that makes sense. But does that mean that TikTok's not going to grow into be probably one of the leading platforms in the next couple of years? Who knows? That could definitely happen. So
yeah. Well, that's I think that's a good way to look at it, because if you look at Facebook, it's taken them quite some time to put together their advertising side of things, and then they've obviously gone towards Meta and started buying, your WhatsApp and all the other tools here and there. I mean, if we look at Twitter, they've had an advertising platform for quite some time, and it is very specific. And I wouldn't say necessarily good for ROI, but I may be wrong. I think there's many different ways to approach the market from different stages of the marketing funnel. But I think what you and I do differently is we specialize in results generation, which is very different to a lot of general advertising agencies that want to create brand awareness, engagement, and potentially approach the market from the media buy perspective. So that'd be my take on that.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, like if you're into like results-based return on ad spend marketing, yeah, I mean, you definitely try a TikTok and that sort of thing. If you got to be clever with the way you did your funnel, your sales process, that's, it's not that it can't be done. And there's people absolutely crushing it with TikTok ads. I'm just not a specialist in it. Like it's not something that I'm, have spent millions of dollars in ads on and really familiar, right? So yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess one other topic that I want to touch on is mentors and coaches. You and I have both worked with Andrew Dale Grant. Andrew and Dale Grant have been guests to our podcast, and I think that's actually the most popular podcast on my channel. So there you go. So tell us about your experience with Andrew and Daryl, and I guess how they have helped your business.
Oh man, I would not be here without Andrew and Dale Grant. They've just been amazing in my whole journey. And I think if I go back to where I first met them, I actually started off with Matt and Liz Rard, actually.
Okay.
So I did the how to buy and sell websites many, many years ago. And maybe it must have been well over a decade now. And we did their program. My brother and I bought 30 online businesses. And that was really my how to get into online business, right? And they were really cool. Like really enjoyed working with them. Great humans. And then from there, my brother and we sold off all our online businesses. He wanted to go traveling. And I was kind of looking for the next thing. I was like, well, what do we do now? And we're kind of at a point where we were quite comfortable in life, but I was like, well, you get bored. There's only so much time you can spend sitting on the beach, right? So I'm like, well, what do we do? And basically there was a how to create membership sites, which is kind of like the next big thing that I wanted to kind of conquer. And we flew over to Andrew and Daryl's event. I'm from Perth, so I flew all the way over to Gold Coast for one of their events. This must be about 8 or 9 years ago, like a long time ago. And anyway, we're sitting in the crowd. At the time, my son had started a little business at home, and we wanted to teach kids how to start businesses and that sort of thing. And we said, can we turn this into a membership site? And we got talking with Andrew and Daryl. They're like, hey, why don't you come hang out with us in Thailand? We like you guys. Maybe we can turn it into a joint venture. And I was like, whoa, that happened way too quickly. And next thing I know, I'm sitting in Thailand. I've rocked up in like suits and, you know, like really nice clothes, and they're just literally sitting by the pool, like tank top and shorts and bathers. They're like, what are you doing, you fool? Go put something comfortable on. And they're just really cool humans. We sat around for a couple of days, mapped out a business, which became Youth in Business in the end. You know, 7-figure business, teaching kids literally how to start businesses before they finish school. We did it with them for a couple of years. Absolutely amazing. They taught us everything from like how to get up on stage, the way they do their marketing. Very, very clever people to do business with, and we were just very lucky to partner with them at that time. We later bought them out of that business. Still remain really close friends, and we continued it on, and away we went. Had amazing results for the Youth in Business program. It's probably a whole nother podcast in itself. But yeah, teaching kids how to start businesses before they finish school. We had kids buy houses before they're 18. You know, millionaire kids on every news channel. And one of the kids even wrote a book, How I Made More Money Than My Principal. I was able to write forward to, right? So really, really cool program. From there, yeah, we kept that going. And then a little bit later, probably about 2 or 3 years after that, after we'd bought them out and we still sort of were connected and whatever, they asked us to come back and do another business with them called Coaching for Experts, where we would teach Andrew and Daryl's system how to basically sell from stage, sell high ticket, package up coaching and that sort of thing. We did that for about 2 years. So that was really cool. We did events in the US and every capital city in Australia just about, and, you know, was shaping up to be really, really cool. And they were doing obviously how to do some of the presenting and doing all their stuff that they're really good at, and how to put offers together and all of that. I was doing the marketing side. So how do we fill the rooms? How do we do all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. So it was a really good match. And then COVID come along and pretty much killed that for everyone, because you couldn't run events anymore. You know, like we're teaching people how to speak from stage and sell, but no one could even get in a room. So we sort of folded that. A Titan Marketer was sort of just starting to form and sort of took over that next space. But to this day, Andrew and Daryl are clients of ours. So we run Andrew and Daryl's YouTube ad marketing for their online virtual events that they're running at the moment with their new joint venture partners. Yeah, and they've done very well. You know, I'd say they've done well over 7 figures in sales from YouTube ads in the last sort of 12 months. So yeah, really, really cool. Friends to this day. And if you ever get the opportunity to work with Andrew and Daryl, or sit down, Daryl and Andrew are probably the smartest people I've ever met. So yeah, definitely. Awesome. If you ever get the chance to go to one of their events or do any of their stuff, yeah, absolutely brilliant. So
Andrew and Daryl, if you're listening, guys, yeah. Hi, Ben and I said hi. Look, I think it's obviously great how you know, you've pointed out quite a number of interactions with Andrew and Daryl. I think a lot of the time people often find that they can do a lot of things themselves, but they don't realize that they have certain limitations that don't really allow them to approach the problem that they're trying to solve. And a lot of the time, if you listen to Andrew, I'm pretty sure you'll back me up, it's really to do with mindset. So mindset is really one of those things that really needs to be addressed before you get yourself into something else. So, I mean, if you really want, I guess, some reference, Simon Sinek, Start With Why is sort of in line with that. Hey, try to figure out why and try to understand your limitations that are stopping you from that why. But look, I won't spoil it. Andrew is probably a much better person to touch on this. And I think Daryl and Andrew, they work in tandem. You know, they do complement each other quite a lot. So if you do listen to any of the presentations or any of the joint ventures that they're doing currently, I highly recommend checking them out. Cool. Ben, mate, that's been a great podcast. I can't believe you know, how much time we spent already. One thing I do for my guests is a section called Rapid Fire. This is where I ask you, you know, questions, and I just want a simple answer. Are you ready?
Fire away. So like one word or like two?
Oh, it's up to you. Just simple. All right. So, what's your favorite AI tool besides ChatGPT?
ChatGPT.
Well, I think it's a bit of a monopoly there. Everything that there is out there at the moment sort of ties into ChatGPT, and everything else not quite the same. Okay. Your favorite personal development book?
Oh, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
Wow, they're shocked. 1 and 2. But it's not really a development book, but yeah.
Dale Carnegie. Well, yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite place for a holiday? Best destination?
Best destination, man, that's hard.
Too many.
I'm going to go with Europe as a continent.
Okay, yeah, I think you can't go wrong. Just about everywhere you land, there's either history or museums or something to do or something to drink or eat. Cool. Mate, I think it's been a great podcast. Absolutely love having you share all this knowledge. And I think our listeners can really get a lot by implementing, at least, at least trying to implement what you've shared today. You guys have heard about the recipes. You've heard about all the things that potentially you need to take into account. You heard all the references. And then most importantly, you've got access to Ben's resources at Titan Market. I'll make sure to add a link at the bottom of this video. Mate, thanks very much for finding the time to jump on the call. I hope to catch up with you next time you're in sunny Queensland, even though Perth is probably just as sunny.
All right, awesome. No, thank you so much for having me, Alexei. Really appreciate it. I hope we've been able to deliver some value today. Thank you if you've made it to this part of the podcast. Appreciate your time. And wish you all the best growing and scaling with YouTube ads.
Sounds good. Well, I'll make sure to apply a few techniques to make sure that our engagement goes all the way through the length of this podcast. Mate, thank you very much. And for our listeners, make sure you don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, not to miss another episode, and share this with your friends. Maybe there's somebody who may want to get into YouTube ads and potentially is just lacking a little bit of direction. My name is Alexei. This is Better Business Podcast, and I'll chat to you soon.